I'll ask this question, which is addressed to all of you, and I want all of you to answer. Going forward, what do you think should one be doing as an individual, somebody like me who owns a travel company, or somebody there who owns a hotel, somebody who owns a hospitality business, or somebody who owns a resort, or somebody who owns an outbound company or an inbound company?
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to be with all of you today. As I look at it, this COVID crisis possibly has exposed a lot of our organizations to the gaps that possibly we had internally as well as externally in the processes, in the technology, and in the field of financial prudence. I think in the travel agency business or in the travel and hospitality business, as I can see, financial prudence possibly should take a precedent over anything else today, because we've seen the companies going down, we have seen the M&As falling off, we have seen the companies going down, we have seen the frauds, we have seen the airlines going down. So why is it happening? It is possibly we have not been following the financial prudence within the company as much as we should have been doing. So I look at it as an opportunity. I look at it as a two set of things that possibly each and every company in the hospitality and the travel trade needs to do. One is to meet with the immediate challenges that we have in hand, that by and large would be the same but would vary from company to company as well, a part of it. So we need to put a complete list of the challenges that we need to deal with as a immediate measure. And secondly, we need to put a plan for future, when the COVID crisis are over, what possibly could be the business plan going forward? Is the business plan that we are really dealing with or handling as on date, would that hold good post-COVID era? What would be the changes? How to deal with that? How to make the organizations lean and thinner? How to really streamline the processes? How to introduce the technology? And possibly how to preserve the cash and how to bring a balance between the ability of the companies to make a more sustainable business model.
The way I would look at this is, especially from keeping the hospitality business in mind, we keep talking about we should do this, we should do that, but I have a very simple and straightforward aspect to this. There are two kinds of customers. One is your internal customer, which are people our colleagues who work in hotels. And one is your external customer who are your guests. So it's very important to ensure that both aspects, whether internal or external customer, commit to themselves. Because, it's the easiest thing to tell a hotel general manager or the owner that this is what your people should do. But I think it has to come from within, because hygiene, cleanliness, is the key to future, especially after this. And the same thing goes to guests. We also have issues today when the car is being driven into a hotel, a guest will turn around and say, why is my car checked? I come into the gym every day. But that's no excuse. The same way, I think it's a commitment that needs to come from internal as well as an external customer to move forward. And I think that's the need of the hour.
I think this is the time to pause now and then to be ready to unpause after some time. So also in a way we can talk like that this is time to rethink, reset and restart. Saying this, I doesn't mean that we have to completely change our ecology or ecosystem in the doing of business, but simply somewhere if we need kind of correction, we need to be look into that perspective. And then after, immediately after post-COVID, in Nepal, we are working like, the identifying few segments and few markets to start with. For example, in every crisis, after every crisis, there are 4 segments which bounce back very, very quickly. One is obviously domestic, which is easy to engage and involve. And then second is niche segment, where the strong desire is there for the travelers, in which our region is very, very strong. And third is business and corporate segment, where there is a kind of compulsion to travel. And third is pilgrimage segment, again, a very strong belief to travel. So we have identified these four segments to start with after some time. And then when we talk about market-wise, obviously, a domestic market is the number one to survive the industry. And at the same time, when domestic starts, we can start our regional markets. A few days back, we had a very good conversation with the officials of TAFE, FAITH, these all friends of India. And then we're very happy to see that, you know, both the sides were very eager to have further collaboration.
Next session. Why should I come on now?
And then third is the short-haul market and then long-haul market. So we have doing this line, and then I personally think is, you know, the need to panic. This is the time to pause. So after some time, the largely tourism industry will remain safe, and we should be hopeful.
What measures has Gulf Fed taken or plans on taking or implementing from an India and West Asia perspective? I mean, to attract corporate, leisure, or MICE, is there some sort of a plan to go up in phases? Are we looking at certain markets, flights taking off for certain markets? Has there been put up, has a plan been put in place, Vikas?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to share views on this forum. Yes, you know, we have been behind the scenes working tirelessly to put a plan specifically, you know, for India and West Asia, because this is very, very important and prime hub of business, and it's basically contributes a very big portion to our revenue as well. Now, looking at how things are and how things will be, definitely the recovery is supposed to be in a staggered manner. And it's an evolving estimate at this point in time, which is very closely linked to the progress the different countries have shown or have achieved in containing the pandemic and spread. We've seen within the GCC markets, there are very strong measures in place. And the expectation is that in next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll see some kind of traction in these markets. Even in the Indian domestic market, we've seen there's a very strong resilience. And as we expect, and we sincerely hope, then next couple of weeks, perhaps in next 3 to 4 weeks, we see some kind of movement starting in the Indian market as well. But from a perspective of Europe and the further down to US, things have been, the progress has been slow, though there is signs of markets opening up, but still we see that it'll take some time. With regards to specifically West Asia markets, we see that the first thing to start will be a little bit on the domestic tourism. So that will kind of start in next 4 to 6 weeks. Then will be followed by regional one, and then of course the international one. There are guesstimates in place. A lot of organizations, IDA, McKinsey, BCG, they have been making guesstimates with regards to the evolving nature of the pandemic. At this point in time, the guesstimates are looking at July, August to restart the international operations to a certain degree. But we have seen the cases in China where there was some sign of recovery. There was a spurge at the initial stages, but then demand has gone down. So we will have to come to a new world, which is a world where will be the network has to be re-optimized to look at what are the trunk routes that an airline can service. And based on that, we will be building it very slowly and kind of very surely from there on.
Morning, Carl, and all the others. I would like to, opine similar to what Vikas has mentioned. It's basically going to be a very cautious approach. We're going to build the traffic over the weeks, over the 4 to 6 weeks. We are not yet sure on what all are the markets which are opening up in terms of airports. So it will be a very cautious approach of looking at building up the initial traffic from the high demanding routes. Fortunately, West Asia is looking the most positive as of now in terms of traffic. And we are quite confident that we will lead in building traffic from India and the subcontinent into the West. So, I mean, of course, as all of you know, there are a lot of Indians who are actually, that will be the initial traffic which will be happening for the airlines who are abroad. And the government of India and all the other West Asian countries have basically taken stock since the last 2-3 days of people who would like to come back to visit their dear ones to the country. So I feel very soon, hopefully 3rd of May, we hear some news on what's happening in India and the rest of subcontinent, because most of the timelines as of now are between the 8th and 15th of May for airports to open up in the subcontinent. So we will eagerly wait to see what's happening. And then we start the traffic with what is available now and what is distress. And then we look at things going forward. Towards the West, yes, things look to be very slow because the phase of the spread or the seriousness of the spread has been taken a little late by the Western countries, which we which we feel will take them for some time to recover. Otherwise, I mean, quite positive that we'll be leading the traffic.
Thank you, all my colleagues, colleagues on the panel. Let me just to, first of all, give you some information about really to recover from what's happening now in the world, especially in the hospitality sector. Okay, being an expert on hospitality sector and my perceptions that if in case there is no recovery from now for the next 3 months, 6 months, or by end of the year, okay, the world is needed to get a fund of 25 billion US dollar globally. And this is to cover the hospitality sector and the aviation industry lost. So this is a worldwide. Now, being on the Gulf area, okay, and with all the Gulf airlines, I think in the GCC, okay, so that's not only Gulf Air. I'm not talking about Gulf Air, but I'm talking about all the airlines within the Gulf area. Okay, we need to recover again. And the loss of what's happening, and not only the loss on the revenue, but also the loss in the human resource. That we need to find a 7 billion US dollar again to make sure that we are not losing all the professionals, employee. They are working on the airline and aviation industry, which is they are approximately 346,900,000 jobs, and this source come from the IATA. What's happened in Bahrain and especially with the hotel industry, we are at the moment, it's really running in a very low occupancy, and one of the reasons is that all the access to the country is closed, and one of the most access famous between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia is the King Fahd Causeway, which is it's closed. So we have no any alternative. We have no customers. We have no guests. We have no families coming to this country. The hotels in Bahrain at the moment, they are facing with 2% or 3% on occupancy, and obviously its average room rate it's really very low. The government, it's also has taken a part of a big responsibility in this country, and they have helped all the hotels, and they have helped all the small and medium organization, which the company they have 50 staff and less on the number, and how to lift them up again, because we don't know the disease when will be disappear from our area.
In the short term, we really are going to be faced with turbulent times, trying to bring back whether luxury or first class or whichever international traveler. I think it's going to be baby steps. It's going to be baby steps for the industry. We've really had the whole industry has been had a body blow from airlines, hotels, travel companies across the spectrum. So for us, I think the billion-dollar question is, when will it start? When will borders open? When will the international airlines start to fly? You've heard GREESH speak about hygiene and sanitation. The other Galaxy speakers have spoken about safety, security. I think it's just instilling confidence levels and back into our traveler to bring them back. To come back to luxury travel, not in the short term, perhaps in the long term, when I say beyond 12 months. But leisure travel is here to stay. Don't forget, luxury travel, in every adversity, the luxury traveler has an opportunity. So a lot of them are well-heeled people, especially Abercrombie and Kent travelers across the globe. So we've seen it over the years. I've been through several of these in the last 25, 30 years of my working career between hotels and the travel industry.
How is UDAAN, or what do you see as the future for visa applications? Question number one is, what do you see the future in terms of handling of applications look like? Question number two, how will group travel, in your opinion, continue, especially in light of visa applications post-COVID? Have you heard from any of the governments that you deal with? Are we looking at certificates, looking at medical certificates? Give me a few comments on this, Rajan.
Good afternoon to all my fellow panelists, and good afternoon to all the participants and audience. To begin with, I'm very impressed what Vikram said, and these are very encouraging things. What he's saying, that luxury and leisure is going to stay, which of lately I haven't heard. I've been attending a lot of webinars and a lot of group discussions. But nevertheless, one thing which I've seen, we all have become, I'll use the word demotional. So we are detached with the outer world, but we are emotional, we are passionate about our own business. And we are looking back, striving hard to gather how we can bounce back. Coming back to your question, Carl, yes, visa will see a sea of change in terms of regulation, in terms of submission, in terms of processing. I think it's going to change very rapid. Maybe the governments, the immigration team were thinking of putting everything electronically, but now it will be on fast track mode very soon. I think most of the countries are doing and following the same practice of less of physical documentation and less of human nature, but definitely that's going to be the future. So I think the rules will become more stringent in terms of applying visas. We will have very soon a column in our visa application. Are you suffering from any disease? Are you affected by C19 or anybody in your family or nears and dears? Which is going to be a very, very important and vital question. And I'm sure they're going to take this as a very serious mood. So how we are answering it or how we are filling up in the form, which is very, very key. I feel, I know everybody knows that visa will have a challenge. We have few airlines guys with us who are discussing on how they will operate on by air. But I feel that people who are 55 plus in that category, where people are doing holidays, that will be a big question for them as well to clear, because their application is going to take time, because they will have to go through maybe more of a medical, a test or fitness levels. But nevertheless, yes, before the lockdown things happen, I must share it with you that I'm talking of last week of February, and when this China was already at its peak, there was one Arab council and we were talking on one urgent application to be processed, and he says, boss, we can't do any urgent application because we sanitize your papers. So they started it long back before me and you are talking on this today. So I know these governments, these embassies will prefer to have less of a human interaction. I was talking to our friends at VFS. In fact, I heard Vinay as well, that even they are planning to maintain a distance, social distancing and security of people who are walking into VFS to apply their visas. So maybe tomorrow you feel that everything is digitalized and you have uploaded your papers, and if you need to submit your passport, maybe they don't need physical presence. They might ask VFS to courier it to VFS or courier it to the embassy. Vice versa, you receive your application. So we are expecting a lot of changes which are going to happen when it comes to visas as such. Talking of the groups and MICE, I feel that that's not going to happen so soon, but we all are passionate about travel, and you know how MICE works and how group travel works. But yes, we will have to give time till maybe next of March or April that we will have a clarity on it. But definitely it's going to happen. It's not going to stop. Yes, the essential travel, which we handle a lot of corporates, UDAAN does a lot of corporate, and we handle a lot of TMCs. Yes, we are getting calls and they are asking us whether you will be able to support us 24/7, which we have already agreed, because it's high time that we need to come back to our main business. But yes, essential and business travel will begin once these announcements are made on how to travel. Yes, we'll have to prepare all our travelers that the visa application is going to take time. You have to go through all these medicals. Even if you are clearing the immigration, you will have to be reporting 4 hours or 5 hours earlier, because again, the temperature, maybe they'll have a mechanism to test you at the airport as well, maybe on flight as well. I saw one of the videos that they'll check your blood or temperature on the flight itself. So there are going to be a lot of things which we have to wait and watch. I feel that these are early days. But yes, one thing is for sure, that whatever is going to happen, it's going to be on a global platform. So India will also follow the same practice what other countries will follow. So everyone will have that open view.